Hello there everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I will be showing you how to create an airfield to answer the age-old question within the Sunstrike series. How on earth is it that you make an airfield? Well, today we'll be going through that and I will show you exactly how it's done. Now for starters, you obviously need to be in the map editor to create an airfield, and once you've created your mission, which I'll do now so you can see something important with airfields. My plane's disappeared, but you'll notice there's asphalt there. Now that is because that's a hangar, but when I go to place my plane, I don't know where my hangar is, unless, of course, you mark the ground, making life so much easier. And then, once you've placed your plane, you can just turn that back into whatever it was before. Like say you make your airfield out of this, then of course, just turn it back to that. It makes life so much easier, and that's what we'll be doing in the rest of the video. Now, when you get to this tab on the side, obviously that was in the terrain tab, all the way down at the bottom is airfields. If you press that plus sign, it brings down a drop down menu. In there you have territory, which is the area that the plane is allowed to go through while going from the hangar to the takeoff point. So basically, well, it's just taking off or landing basically. Now territory is universal to every single airfield you make, so it's not assigned a airfield type 1, 2, 3, 4, so it doesn't matter, it's universal. So essentially you can draw the airfield with the territory, and then if you wanted, put different airfields in it, but I'll explain that later because that's quite confusing. Now you've got your lift-off point, which is where the plane actually takes off from, so that should be facing obviously like where the nose of the plane is facing, so there, and the landing point needs to be facing the opposite direction and in front of the lift-off point, so basically where the nose of the plane would be when it's landing, which basically is very simple. So that's obviously your landing point, and you'll have it facing inward, and your lift-off point will be facing outwards. And you've got hangars. Now hangars are where planes can obviously be placed on the map, but more importantly where you can place them within your airfield. So as you can see, I've got a P-51 Mustang here, and this is a basic airfield. This is like what I'd call a strip airfield. It's just a line, it's nothing fancy. Now I have created obviously a single mission, so I can show you how it's working in the game. So this guy will just fly, then he'll take off. Now we obviously want something more superior, something more refined than just this, so this is a bit more of an advanced tutorial, let's say. So first of all, you should really make the airfield just with dirt. So for this design, I will just I don't actually know what I'm doing, but that's why it's a tutorial, because even I'm learning. We'll make an L-shape airfield, possibly. Will that work? A trident can work, surely. Yeah, we'll do a trident. So we'll make the airfield like a trident. Then we'll have a plane. You can see obviously where the planes are going to be, and the planes will be then here, here, and here. And then obviously we'll go back to our territory in the airfield. If you'll let me place it, we'll make it, well, it needs to be quite wide actually, so the planes can go where they're supposed to go. Then obviously we can join that, Nice to just make the territory overlap even though it looks ugly, just so that the airfield 100% works. Now for this we'll be using Airfield 2 because obviously it's a different mock-up. So the hangars will be placed here, here, well, it don't really matter. It doesn't need to be specific. There we go. So you can have, how many can you have? You can have like 10 aircraft in the same airfield, which is really cool. So now let's go and place our planes where they're supposed to be. You see why I placed the territory, because it's just an absolute guessing game of where the planes are supposed to be. I didn't make this universal, so it might not be easy to place them. There we go. Now we go back to our airfield. The landing point, of course, facing inward. The lift-off point facing outward, where the nose of the plane will be. And that should now function. Oh, yeah. Big mistake, guys. We've placed it incorrectly. We need to make sure that everything is of type 2, because obviously hangars 2, lift-off and landing 2 here. So now that's set correctly, this airfield should work. Let's just make sure there's a pop that in. Let's see. I'll build it as a single mission. We'll see if it works. Now, one thing you can do to speed up the process of testing missions is just restart them, and it will load everything you've just placed from the editor. So we got our 3. Oh, of course it doesn't work. Oh, that guy doesn't work. Okay, what's going on here? Ooh. What's this guy do? Okay, it does work, but why wouldn't he take off? Ah, okay. So our airfield works perfectly fine. There's a reason that plane on the right didn't take off, and I've just clocked why. I believe it's because this this guy here, this P-51 Mustang. Oh, what am I doing? He is in the way of our other aircraft. I believe he's too close, and therefore blocking. So if you see, look, the distance there is slightly larger than the distance there.
Unit ready. Go. Holding position.
And this guy will then be able to take off once this guy's left, I think. Yeah.
Waiting your holding position.
So to fix this, what we can do with our airfield knowledge is then remove the territory here and add it back here. We'll put a hangar for airfield numero 2 there. We'll get this out the way. Come on, bugger off. Now, where have I placed that hangar? That's a good guess. No. Okay. Delete that one. I'll just put my thumb on the screen so I know exactly where it is. It should be there. Bollocks. What? There we go. Now, obviously, if we take a look, that should allow it to work. But can you have... You can't have multiple landing and lift-off points of it. No, you can't. So all the planes exit and leave the airfield at the same place. But say, like, we make this hangar 3 now. We can essentially make it so he takes off over here. So you got your lift-off point, landing point, and he'll basically be able to fly that way. So if we make that now, it should be a bit better. But of course, because he's airfield 3 and those are airfield 2, they will basically intersect and try and crash into each other. Restart the game here.
Awaiting your order. Attack.
So as you can see, look, he's going to take off. But this guy will just ignore him. Oh no, they do listen to each other. Okay.
Full stop, sir. Go.
And that's how you make an airfield that's more complicated. Obviously, this guy now will take off.
Sir, get them.
And that's freed up that way. And now he can take off. So that's a more advanced airfield that I've just created by messing up and rectifying my mistake. So of course you can make this for as many aircraft as you want. And you can have two airfields that just interlap with each other, like in the US campaign. But that's basically how you create an airfield. Now, the hangars are applicable for any type of aircraft, so you could put like a bomber on that square. It would still work, all the same. Of course, if you will notice, when this O-52, whatever it's called, takes off, he goes like southward. And that is because I don't think that they can be within 2 squares of other aircraft. So he like comes into line with this. So obviously the solution to that is then just to move his hangar here and move him across one, and he should be able to take off. There's no jet fighter in this game, is there? No. He'll just be able to take off then straight away. And obviously this building the mission as a single mission, going into the game and restarting it, is the quickest way to keep faffing with the airfield and trying to fix it. Now, as you can see, he won't deviate from his course, he'll just go in a straight line.
Yes.
But obviously, because of how we've made the airfield, like, this guy will have to go around a corner. And then he'll take off. Obviously, I think the runway can be, obviously, as long as you want. You could essentially make the runway, let's pause the game just now. You could have the runway from here to here, which is stupid. But if you wanted to make that, then you could. Or you can have it as short as you want. And that's how helicopters obviously work. But that's a tutorial for another day, because helicopters are really confusing and they can crash the game if you land a plane in their like spot. So that's basically how you make airfields. Then obviously what you do to make it look like a real airfield, if you go to roads, this is how the developers did it in the original game. And then you've just got this. You use that if you want. There is some other type, like this scrappy, like looking ground, for like a more rural airfield, and you combine all of these. Like, yeah, you combine all of those to make it look nice. Obviously, mine looks like like terrible because I've just made it for the tutorial. But that is how you make an airfield. And of course then you can just simplify it or amplify the intensity of how how detailed you want the airfield to be. So that's up to you. You want 1 plane or 2, 3, 4, 20. Depends on you and how far you're willing to go. But that's how you make a airfield. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video or learnt something new. One thing also over here is you can also make empty airfields. They don't need to have planes on them. And what you can then do is land in other people's airfields. So wherever we put the landing and liftoff point is where you'll be able to tell planes to land. So obviously here is for that German plane that landed. But we can go and land in his airfield with this plane. But obviously you could make 3 slots for other planes to land at. And through script you can have, let's turn these fuckers down. You can have other planes that can fly into the map and land in the spots instead. Now it's sometimes awkward to have obviously a good landing because the planes don't fly properly. And it does actually mess with where they're trying to land. You should add additional like slots for landing so that the planes can land without difficulty. Because sometimes it creates a glitch where they just fly around like this. But that's basically aviation and the airfield. Thank you ever so much for watching.